say that life's about balance, baby, and the balance is in my account now. Okay, she got a perkin' and Burke, I got a twerking and turf. She probably let both of us hit, the way that she smirking at dirt. She getting cake on the picture she take, I say, girl, if it worked, then it worked.
The Lifestyle Balance Podcast.
Welcome everyone, episode 25. Today we have special guest Joe Trimboli. Thank you for coming.
I've been sleeping until I was 40. They say life begins at 40. That was really the case for me. A father of three girls. I got twins that are 15. My oldest is going off to university. She's 18.
Nice.
Married to Rita, 22 years. And mortgage broker. I lead a call in the morning called the Wake Up Call that I think you're probably going to ask me about. Mm-hmm. Just released that book.
Awesome.
And we're here, man. We're doing podcasts.
Is this your first one?
No, I've done
Many?
a few. Yeah.
Nice.
Quite a few.
And have they gone well, or
they're fun? You know what? I like podcasts. They're cool, right?
Yeah.
I don't do any scripts. I never really prepare for things, so podcasts accommodate that really well. We can show up and just have a conversation.
Yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day. So we try to say to everyone, it's natural.
My thing.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll get into how long you've been in the mortgage brokerage industry right now.
Since 1999, so 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I always say the first 16 of those years, kind of like half-assed it. So
okay.
Do you have to put a rating on this show?
No.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Just getting mediocre results at best.
Okay.
Thinking there was something wrong with me or
that it was your fault.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad luck. I'd have no luck at all. That no matter what I did, things didn't work out. But I started to become aware of certain truths because I think for the most part I was living by just lies, and I think most people do. You just live by the circumstances of your life and the results that you've been getting, and we don't have the understanding to really define it any differently. So really, in my eyes, I've been doing it well for 7 or 8 years now. It's been an incredible industry. It's going through its challenges now.
For sure.
But there's good and bad, right? Ups and downs. And
always.
We're just riding the waves right now.
Nice. Cool to hear. And it's kind of just because you got me thinking about that when you said, we like people feel like they're in that rat race kind of. Do you think that's because people are afraid to change what their circumstances are?
Many people are afraid to change, or they resist change.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't know if they resist being changed. They'll change because they want to change,
or because they need to, I guess.
Or because they need to, right? They say you get motivated by desperation or inspiration. I was desperate.
Okay.
And I got to a point where I needed to change.
Yeah.
And prior to that, there's probably people that made suggestions that I wouldn't have listened to.
Some advice,
Yeah, you got to be ready to receive it, right?
For sure.
They say that change is scary in the beginning, messy in the middle, but fantastic in the end. For me, it wasn't that I was resisting change. I just didn't know enough to affect the change.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You weren't fully aware of it at the time.
Yeah, and my mentor, I'm a big follower of a lot of guys, but my main guy was Bob Proctor for a lot of reasons. Okay. But he used to say, it's all about raising your level of awareness. And I'd be like, what the heck does that mean, dude? What does that mean?
What is he saying?
Raise your level of awareness.
Yeah.
And it's true, I understand it now.
Yeah.
The more I study, the more I read, the more I become aware of different truths.
Yeah.
Because, bad luck, there's no such thing as bad luck. There's cause and effect.
Yeah.
Right? Or there's vibration and attraction. Or there's what you put out, you get back. So when you're operating with those truths, you can take responsibility for your life. When you're operating with the lies that we've been, the victim mentality, typical kind of mentality that's where you stay, right? Until you're ready to take responsibility.
Yeah, you're stuck in it for a bit.
Yeah, and so I've become really passionate, and I know you asked me about the mortgage bit, but I've become really passionate about sharing that with people because I believe it with everything I got that anybody can change. Anybody can affect and start living the life that they want to live. That by no means or no stretch means that I'm living exactly the way I want to be living.
For sure.
And that things always go perfectly for me.
Yeah.
But I'm better equipped to deal with things as they come up.
Nice.
And stay in control of my life, my results more often.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. And so let's start going into a bit of how you started this 5 a.m. wake up call. When did this begin? I know you said it earlier.
Yeah, so in 2016, 2017 is when I really started to turn on to this information, I'll call it. And again, it was Bob Proctor that always said, raise your level of awareness. And he would talk about ignorance being the root of all the problems in the world have as their root cause ignorance. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what you know.
Yeah.
You know that you know how to record a podcast, how to like line up the
Through
mic.
Experience
you know this guy. You know that you know this guy, right?
Yeah.
There's things you know that you don't know.
For sure.
Like I don't know how to perform open heart surgery.
Yeah.
But then there's things that I don't know that I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's that blind spot. It's not having that awareness, that information to help you change your perception or change the way you reason with things or change your behavior, because it's our thinking that causes our behavior. And if we don't know enough, we don't have enough awareness of all these different laws. Like there's laws at play, laws of success. I'll call them universal laws. And they're always working. They're working for everyone, no matter how tall you are, how short you are, how ugly you are, what color you are, what school you went to, where you grew up. They're working the same for everyone. Right?
Doesn't change.
Yeah. So as you start to operate with those truths, it impacts you on a level where you can actually choose the right thoughts.
Yeah. And implement it for yourself, pretty much.
But I think, you know what, actually, as I say that, I think that's the first step, is understanding we can choose our thoughts. No matter what's happening, we always have the ability to choose our thoughts.
Yeah. It's up to you.
Most people don't exercise that ability, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And so when you started this 5 a.m. wake-up call, was this something that you were trying to integrate to your past career with the mortgage, or was
I didn't answer your question. I just realized you asked the question and I didn't answer it.
We'll get into it.
So in the beginning, that's what Bob Proctor would say. And he would say, you got to study every day.
Okay.
So actually, I got on a phone call in the morning.
Yeah.
I think we started probably at around 6:30 when I first started. And it was myself and 3 of my close buddies. We were like a little mastermind.
Nice.
We just decided to study together.
Nice.
You know what? We're all studying the same thing. And so we started this call. It was just the 4 of us, and that ran from, I'd say, 2016 or 17 till 2019.
Wow.
And people would ask, "Hey, what's this?
What are you guys doing?" Yeah.
And we would, like, most of us, there was 1 or 2 guys who were like, yeah, they were open to the idea of letting people in. And I was like, no, I don't want to change the dynamic. We would talk about pretty personal things.
Keep it quiet for
it was
now.
It was like we were good to be who we were, right?
Yeah.
Getting pretty vulnerable. And as time went on, we started to move it up. You know what? I want to get my workout in after the call. Let's do and slowly we started making the call earlier. And I think we got it to probably 6 a.m. And then, I don't even remember when I made the decision to start doing it at 5:30.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit.
Okay.
And just before COVID hit, I had done a workshop. I was asked to speak in Mexico at our National Mortgage Conference.
Cool.
And when I came back, they asked me to do a workshop.
Okay.
So I did a workshop, and it was in the workshop that, like, I heard the words leaving my mouth, inviting the people that were in the workshop, because I knew if you leave this workshop and you don't study, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah, it's just a one-time
People think mindset doesn't work. Mindset is everything.
Yeah.
It's just we don't get the repetition of the right thoughts to the point where that we embody it, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at them like, these guys are leaving here. They're not going to get anything, right? Maybe they were inspired for a few hours, but
they might think about it.
So I ended up inviting them to the call, and from there it was like it just exploded.
Wow.
I think 4 people signed on, and then from that, they started asking, hey, I was telling so and so about the call.
Yeah.
And I think it was at that point that I moved it up to 5:30 a.m.
Wow.
And just seeing the effects and the results that people were getting as a result of being on the call, like every single person that came on was experiencing life-changing results, right? It was crazy. So we got up to about 17 people, and at this point it was just a phone call. We would all dial in and
merge it all.
Yeah, merge it all. And then at 17 people, I was like, guys, we got to go to a Zoom.
Yeah.
And from the Zoom, I think in a short period of time, I got up, I think the most I had on a call in one morning was 170 people, 174,
Congrats.
something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
It was cool. It was phenomenal. And you know what? All of that was just people sharing what they were getting on this call.
Yeah.
It was COVID, right? They,
so
they had more time. They weren't out at night, so it was easier to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think people really needed it too. Yeah. But I think 1,400 people from then till now have come through saying that they want to be on the call. But
Wow.
most of them never make it on because it's too early.
Oh, I see.
Right?
They can't hit up that early for
Right, and that has to do with habit forming and paradigms.
big
and
routine too for
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
and staying closed-minded, like right away. Oh no, I can't wake up at that time. I was never a morning person.
No.
No, are you kidding? I would never book an appointment before 10 or 11.
Really?
I'd get to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning. Right? So, you know, it's like when things get that hard, like here I was, I had twins that were 1. My oldest was 3, you know, like I was the sole provider in my
you were
house.
busy.
Yeah, it was just like from that point it was deadly. That was 2008. From 2008 till 2016, it was like I was wandering. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when I started to hear this information and, you know, start to get access to this kind of stuff, like everything started to change.
Wow.
So to see other people get the same result, it's you know, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
But
put your
you
head to
have to be willing to, like, okay, you got to pay the price.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
it ain't coming for free.
No.
Right? Nobody's coming to pull you out of bed or pay your debts.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you complain about them. I used to complain to everybody.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's a false sense of like, oh, somebody's going to help me out. And I didn't know.
Yeah.
But when I think about, like, why would somebody complain? What am I expecting if I start telling you about my problems or all my debt or like how I don't know how I'm going to earn a living to support my family?
Yeah.
Why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Am I hoping that you're going to say, here's
a
some
remorse,
money?
here's
Like,
a
no.
donation. Yeah.
Right? And people give sympathy to wrong thinking. So when people complain, then you have your friends and your family and everybody, like, you know, to be nice. Oh yeah, oh my God,
Are
Alex,
you okay?
sorry to hear that,
Yeah.
man. Really? Oh, let me know if there's anything. No. Like, hey, you know that you can take responsibility for your life, right? Like, let's go.
Yeah. Wake up.
It's time to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's how the call started.
Wow. That's cool. And so do you think, like, obviously you're changing a lot of people's mindsets by doing this. Do you think along the way you obviously change your own?
One person teaches, 2 people learn. And that's something, like, I'm sure even on this podcast, right? You're here, you're giving, you're promoting, you know, giving access to people to expose themselves and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you can't help but get good back.
Oh, for sure.
And as you're sitting here and, you know, you're learning how to do whatever it is,
Constantly learn.
well, right now, people are all to do with wellness.
Yeah.
I've had, you know, a producer and his wife, Bob and Kelly Pascucci, that produced the movie The Ravine.
Oh, nice.
Talk about forgiveness. Like,
cool.
Everybody that I bring on is for the purpose of
Yeah, for sure. The wellness.
carrying
and
these
so
lessons
forth.
forward and making sure we get them at a deeper level, right?
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And so when you were developing this whole system and putting it in place for people, how long was the process for you to get it up and going?
You know what, Alex? I never intended to do it. Honestly, it just happened. It was like, and sometimes I would even reject it.
Really?
Like when we hit, I think it was 17 people before we went to the Zoom.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's enough. Like, because at that point I made sure everybody was reading.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there won't be enough time for everybody to get through the order.
It was overwhelming.
And even at that point, we weren't getting through the entire order. We would just pick up the next day. So I didn't plan any of it.
Yeah.
But I was very much, they say you don't get what you want, you get what you're in harmony with.
Okay.
I was very much in harmony with sharing this information, right? And it started with me saying, I want to, you know, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm being asked to speak to large audiences all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's when I was asked to speak in Mexico in 2019.
Wow.
And then from there, I came back and, you know, doors kept opening. I was still rejecting it. I wasn't resonating with the idea of being a life coach or, like, I never really liked that term. Not that I have anything against it, but for me, I don't see myself that way, right?
For sure. And that's fair.
Yeah. So I was at the time using this information to propel my mortgage business forward. And I did. Like, it was, you know, I had been in that business already by this time, 20 years.
Yeah.
But the change in results after 16 years, like everything was the same for 16. All that happened was I changed the way I thought.
Wow.
And my results were like 6-7 times what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it just kind of happened organically.
Wow.
It wasn't even my say. It was like the universe had its way.
Yeah.
And people just kept promoting it. I never promoted it. I never posted on Instagram. I would reshare other people's posts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are you kind of like, do you believe how far it's become? Like, does it surprise you in a way?
Well, now it's become, something that requires some effort.
For sure.
Right? Now
At that scale.
I've monetized it since. Back then
Nice.
it was free.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out whether it's the time of day or if it's the cost that's causing people to, or if it's the
Hesitate
fact
to?
that we're back to normal work, right?
And the
like
schedules
it's summer,
are changing.
people are out later at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to wake up. So when I do talks, like, just spoke to a large audience, and everybody's, everybody loves the information. They see something that they didn't see before. They
Yeah.
saw something that's possible for them.
They see the results coming.
They could see it, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you say it's 5:30 in the morning, like, oh, no, I don't wake up at that time. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So that's another problem we have.
Yeah.
We don't know how to make a decision.
Yeah.
If you make a decision
Yeah, that's true.
to get you to where you want to be,
Yeah.
right? So if I want to affect these changes and I want to, okay, so how am I going to wake up at 5:30?
Yeah.
But you don't have to start asking how until you decide you're going to wake up.
Yeah.
Once you decide you're going to start doing that, or you're going to do whatever it is you want to do in life, then you figure out how to do it. But we never make the decision.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're looking around for like the resources, or we're looking for the evidence that we can do it.
Or someone else to tell you.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
But we can't do it.
Yeah.
You have to go on the hero's journey. You know what the hero's journey is?
No.
It's like my favorite thing. I just learned about this not too long ago. You look at any character in
Okay.
any movie, any
Yeah.
story,
Oh, okay.
they start off as the weakling, the
Yeah.
narcissist, the nerd.
victim.
To do with wellness.
Yeah.
I've had, a producer and his wife, Bob and Kelly Pascucci, that produced the movie The Ravine.
Oh, nice.
Talk about forgiveness. Like,
Cool.
everybody that I bring on is for the purpose of
Yeah. For sure. The wellness.
carrying
and
these
so
lessons
forth.
forward and making sure we get them at a deeper level, right?
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And so when you were developing this whole system and putting it in place for people, how long was the process for you to get it up and going?
You know what, Alex? I never intended to do it.
It was
Honestly,
just- yeah.
it just happened. It
Wow.
was like, and sometimes I would even reject it.
Really?
Like when we hit, I think it was 17 people before we went to the
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's enough. Like, I can't,
stop
because
there.
at that point I made sure everybody was reading.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there won't be enough time for everybody to get through the order.
It was overwhelming.
And
pretty
even
much.
at that point, we weren't getting through the entire order. We would just pick up the next day. So
Wow.
I didn't plan any of it.
Yeah.
But I was very much, they say you don't get what you want, you get what you're in harmony with.
Okay.
I was very much in harmony with sharing this information, right? And it started with me saying, I want to,
Yeah.
I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm being asked to speak to large audiences all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's when I was asked to speak in Mexico in 2019.
Wow.
And then from there, I came back, and doors kept opening.
Mm-hmm.
I was still rejecting it. I wasn't resonating with the idea of being a life coach, or like,
Yeah.
I never really liked that
Yeah.
term. Not that I have anything against
position.
it, but for me, I don't
Yeah.
see myself that way,
Yeah.
right?
For sure. And that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was at the time using this information to propel my mortgage business forward, and
Wow.
I did. Like, it was, I had been in that business already by this time, 20 years.
Yeah.
But the change in results after 16 years, like, everything was the same for 16. All that happened was I changed the way I thought.
Wow.
And my results were like 6-7 times what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So it just kind of happened organically.
Wow.
It wasn't even my say. It was like the universe had its way.
Yeah.
And people just kept promoting it. I never promoted it. I never posted on Instagram. I would reshare other people's posts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are you kind of like, do you believe how far it's become? Like, does it surprise you in a way?
Well, now it's become, something that requires some effort.
For sure.
Right. Now
At that
I've
scale.
monetized it since. Back then
Nice.
it was free.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out whether it's the time of day or if it's the cost that's causing people to, or if it's the
Hesitate
fact
to?
that we're back to normal work, right?
And the
like, it's
schedules
summer,
are
people are out later at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to wake up. So when I do talks, like, just spoke to a large audience, and everybody's, everybody loves the information. They see something that they didn't see before. They
Yeah.
saw something that's possible for them.
They see the results coming.
They could see it, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you say it's 5:30 in the morning, like, oh, no, I don't wake up at that time. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So that's another problem we have.
Yeah.
We don't know how to make a decision.
Yeah.
If you make a decision
Yeah, that's true.
to get you to where you want to be,
Yeah.
right? So if I want to affect these changes and I want to, okay, so how am I going to wake up at 5:30?
Yeah.
But you don't have to start asking how until you decide you're going to wake up.
Yeah.
Once you decide you're going to start doing that, or you're going to do whatever it is you want to do in life, then you figure out how to do it. But we never make the decision.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're looking around for like the resources, or we're looking for the evidence that we can do it.
Or someone else to tell you.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
But we can't do it.
Yeah.
You have to go on the hero's journey. You know what the hero's journey is?
No.
It's like my favorite thing. I just learned about this not too long ago. You look at any character in
Okay.
any movie, any
Yeah.
story,
Oh, okay.
they start off as the weakling, the
Yeah.
narcissist, the nerd,
The victim
the
and
geek,
everything.
the
Yeah.
victim.
Yeah.
And they're faced with a challenge,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Conquer the villain, save the world, win the girl, win the man, whatever.
Yep.
And they're not the person that's capable of doing that. But they're being called to do that. Like Spider-Man, Batman, Rocky Balboa. It's all the same. They start off as the weakling.
Yeah.
And when they make the decision, or when they're faced with this challenge, they have to go on this journey to become the person that's capable of doing the thing. And that's the way we got to treat our goals.
Yeah.
We have to grow into the person that's capable of hitting our goals. Right?
You gotta transform into that.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
become. It's be, do, have.
Nice.
So you make the decision.
Yep.
Until you make the decision, you don't need anything. And here's one of the laws. The law of supply and demand. Until there is a demand,
Yeah.
there will be no evidence of supply.
Correct.
Oh, you know that one.
Yeah. Business.
Until there's a demand, there will be no evidence of supply.
Yeah.
So I want to get from here to 1 million members, let's say.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around for the evidence that can happen. Well, there isn't any. You know, like Edison, when he turned on the light, if he was looking for evidence that he's going to have hydro poles and telephone wires and transform, all he cared about was turning on that light. He wasn't worried about how he was going to get
Yeah.
electricity into your house,
No.
right?
Just the final idea of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we get stuck on the how. So we never make the decision. We say things like, I'm going to do that as soon as I have the money.
Yeah.
You don't need the money until you make the decision,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to do that as soon as the kids go back to school. Or, you know, I want to do that, but I don't know enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to do that, and I have to learn to do these things. That's how we have to think.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with waking up in the morning. So that changed my life. Just waking up early compounded into so many other habits, positive habits, that replaced the negative habits in my life.
And for sure gave you more time too, I'm assuming. in a
Yeah, oh my
generic
God.
way.
By
Yeah.
like 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
I've done more by 9 o'clock than I used to do in the whole day.
Yeah. It's,
Right?
Yeah. I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's like you said, not a lot of people, then when they hear 5:30 in the morning, they kind of get a little scared.
But you know what? A lot of the successful people, like a lot
Yeah.
of these guys have been on.
Yeah.
These guys are up.
Yeah.
They're in the gym. They're working out.
Yeah.
They're on the call. They're reading books.
Exactly.
Right? They're getting stuff done. They're thinking for
Exactly.
themselves.
Yeah.
It's a great time of day before any interruptions.
For sure. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
really the trick to all of this is living from the inside out.
Yeah.
And our problem is we're always reacting to everything outside of us. Well, at 5:30 in the morning, you got time to like go inside, right?
And take it in. Yeah. 100%. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm personally a morning person, so I can relate to it.
That's cool.
But I have a lot of friends who aren't too. So it's when they're like, you wake up that early. It's like, what the hell? What are you doing at that time in the morning? They say.
I know that this
You know?
podcast is going to be huge.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Because you could see, you could see that the proof is in the pudding, they say,
Yeah.
right? So just keep your eye on
Yeah.
the end game, and you'll
Consistency.
figure it out as you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because there's going to be evidence that'll tell you it's not happening,
Oh, for sure.
right? You
For
probably
sure.
already faced it. Like, I forget
100%.
it.
100%.
What the hell am I doing this for? I
Yeah.
should maybe just forget, like, you know,
Go so chill.
just stop, right? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that's what most people do. They'll allow those thoughts to get
To take
control
over
of them.
Exactly.
Take over them.
Exactly.
And the difference between somebody that does it and that somebody that doesn't
Yeah.
is the one that does it never stopped,
Yeah.
never quit.
Yeah.
They'll have those thoughts,
For sure.
but they keep going.
Yeah. Said it well.
Yeah.
Cool. So Joe, I want to hear a little bit, like obviously you give so much advice to people on the daily, Monday to Friday, and probably on the weekends too. Well, what is your most biggest, I guess, in a generic way, to give someone advice to move forward in their life, like we were saying, you know, to wake up early and so forth, to change their habits? Where would they start?
To start waking up early, or to affect change in their
yes,
life?
Exactly.
Well, you got to really, I think, learn to make a decision.
Yeah.
Make a decision. Realize there's no, like Mel Robbins says it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
Right? You make a decision. You're going to take 100% responsibility for your life. Look at yourself in the mirror. Give yourself some love. Don't start beating yourself up and feeling bad about stuff, feeling guilty, and like refuse to talk negatively about yourself.
For sure.
And just make some decisions. And what do you need to do? Does it involve maybe starting your day earlier, making the calls that you know you should be making that you haven't been? Now, there's a reason why we're not doing the things we know we should be doing.
Okay.
And that comes from the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind, where we know stuff,
Yeah.
we know all kinds of stuff, but
Yeah.
we're not doing that which we know.
Yeah.
Well, the subconscious is the doing part of the mind.
Okay. The action.
Yeah. And the thing about the subconscious is the emotional mind. And we got to start doing the things we know how to do. And I think some of the exercises, if that's what you're asking for, we got to start feeling gratitude.
Okay.
Gratitude exercise would be, for me, the top of the list.
Wow.
Because you're practicing finding the good in everything. And somebody that can find the good, like any idiot can tell me what's wrong with something or what's wrong with the situation.
Anyone could see the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes a thinker to point out the good, right? So gratitude is the practice of finding the good in everything, in every situation, no matter how bad it is, right? And from there, now, that affects your attitude. Change your attitude, you change your altitude. And especially now, like in this environment, you gotta have a good attitude. And a good attitude is a combination of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? So we don't take responsibility for all that. We get the results we get. They're not what we want, but then we make up lies about ourselves. And they're not true. It's just my attitude sucked. For those 40 years, my attitude, listen, I wasn't a bad guy, right? I always had good intentions.
For sure.
I just didn't know any better. And I think most people have good intentions.
Yeah.
They want the good relationship with their kids. They want the good relationship wherever. They want the money. They want the business. They want to do well.
Success and so forth, yeah.
But they're not doing what they know they got to be doing.
Yeah.
And we're reacting. And all of that is according to a program. What you don't fix, your kids inherit, right? So I've got we were all born clean slate.
Yeah.
And then we started to get the programs. This is right, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You're this, you're not that.
Yeah.
That's for them, not for us.
Yeah.
And that now starts to form the lens through which you see the world. And you can't help but get that which you are. So if you're going to change, you got to change. You got to study. You got to raise your level of awareness. You got to get grateful.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a mentor, a coach,
For sure.
a community.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're sitting around the water cooler and everybody's just talking about things that aren't relevant, that aren't going to propel you.
Yeah. How's the weather and every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game. And talk about trades for hours and hours.
Yeah.
So there's a number of things, but I'd say, one, you got to study.
Yeah.
2, practice gratitude. Quiet the mind. Journal or reflect. What are some things I did well? What are some things I could do better at the end of every day?
Yeah.
And then I think a great practice is have a list of 6 things you want to do the next day.
Okay.
So you wake up with intention.
The to-do list.
And it's your list.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you wake up and you're reacting to everybody else's needs, and you're not building what you said you want to build. That's called the Ivy Lee method, by the way. So if you want to look it up, look up the Ivy Lee method. It's an incredible story. It explains where it came from.
Cool. Yeah. So what's the difference? You're saying, like, from a to-do list, let's say, to like your list. You're saying the difference is the to-do list is basically reacting to other people's needs during the day that you're following up with, rather than your own.
Yeah. So. You know what? I want to go back and answer your question 17 different ways.
Yeah,
because I should have said start with you need a goal. If you're going to change anything, you need a goal.
Yeah.
Right. So, one, take responsibility for everything, but have a goal.
Okay.
What is it you want to accomplish, and by when? And then from there, what are the things you need to start doing? So that's the list I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So my list for tomorrow are 6 things that I can do that will move me closer to my goal. Right. So, because otherwise, you're going to have things to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to be busy. Everybody's busy. But you're not busy building what you said you want to create in your life.
For yourself. Yeah.
You're busy trying to keep up with everybody else's needs and demands.
Tasks. Yeah.
Right? So we got to find a way to still meet those needs of the people that need us and clients, but also build and do the things that we need to do to create the life that we want.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the list I'm talking about.
For sure. That's a good way to put it.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice. And so to go into a bit about obviously the theme of our podcast, the lifestyle balance.
Yeah.
We always ask this question, and a lot of people either answer it saying they believe in it, they don't believe in it, they give advice for it, or they say you got to kind of do your own thing. So we're going to ask you, how do you deal with the lifestyle balance of yourself?
So I think what's important is our perspective to keep ourselves balanced, because I don't think you can really achieve that balance in life.
Okay.
Because if my finances are not great right now, then obviously I got to give more attention
to one
over
the other.
If my health isn't as great, maybe I got to give more attention to my health than to my business, or maybe my family life isn't great. So I think, you know, like when I think about some of the things I was doing when I effected my changes, I was doing a lot of work. I was building my processes. After 16 years, I started to go through a client journey. What happens when a lead comes in? What happens after I talk to the lead? What happens after I get the application? So those are things I had never created in my business, and few people do. It's very transactional, going from one thing to the next. So during that time, I was working a lot more than I was working on my health, or working with my family, or spending time with my family. But it didn't feel like work. It was a different kind of work, right? So I understand. I believe for me to have kept my sanity then, I needed to have the right perspective and outlook on things, so I could stay balanced. Right? And I think when you're balanced, then your life becomes balanced. But to have an expectation that, you know, it's going to be 8 hours of this and 8 hours of that and 8 hours.
No set, It's impossible to juggle between that.
But I think we should strive. Like, I think people narrow their minds and think success is just the business part of it. But I think it's the overall picture. Like, what kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to talk to people? You know, every time we're at a funeral mass or somebody says a eulogy or something, I'm always listening, going, you know what? I would love to be remembered like that. You know? And I think it incorporates even just the way you talk to people. It goes far beyond, you know, just the three pillars.
For sure.
What do you think? What do you
on that? Well, like, I think personally and honestly, after doing so many of these podcasts, 25 that is now, I think over time, my own perspective on what that is has changed, the lifestyle balance. Like, at first I thought, like, we were saying, you know, 8 hours of this, 8 hours of that. You balance yourself doing one thing, a little bit of that, and the next day you tackle it again, and it's some sort of balance. But over time, hearing perspectives from different careers, different industries, different people, and their experience, I think that, like you're saying, it can never really be just equal. It has to be how you're dealing at that moment with your life itself. Whether it's you need to focus more with your family, with your friends. Like, we're always trying to balance to keep everyone happy sometimes. And you're not really focusing on yourself and how happy you are. And if you're happy about how your lifestyle is right now, as it is. So I think we have to sometimes take a look at that before we say, okay, I'm going to spend time doing this, I'm going to spend time doing that. That's kind of where I think I'm at right now with it.
The overall, right? You got to be happy in the end. I think that, balance happiness.
For sure.
Happiness is within.
And then I hear some people are like, oh, no way, balance is not real at all. It's everything this all day or nothing. And it's interesting to say. I don't disagree with it. I think everyone takes it differently. But
I think the problem is when we start taking things so literally and we try to, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how you know, I think it's what it is for you.
Exactly.
And if it works for you and your family and your work life, then you got balance.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, some people are easy to wake up at 5 a.m. and get on a call, and it changes their lifestyle. Some people are like, my lifestyle is probably a little bit already okay. They don't want to wake up early, and they're happy with where they are right now. You know? It's just...
I'll tell you something on that, you know?
So sure.
Just an experience. There are people that show up for themselves. And people go above and beyond to help those people that show up for themselves. Like,
for sure.
God helps those that help themselves. Right? But so many people are quick to ask for help, but then they don't help themselves. They don't do what you tell them. And, like, at some point, who are you going to give your attention to? Right? And so, I'm not saying in my own experience, but that's how we all are going to behave. Otherwise, you wear yourself out. You keep trying to help somebody that is not helping themselves. You're going to burn out, and you're not going to be able to help the people that are willing to help themselves.
For sure.
So I think that's another question we got to ask ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know, I'm expecting people to help me, but am I helping myself? What do I need to do? And you know, maybe the answer for you isn't the morning call. It could be reading a book at night, trading in the 4-hour binge or 7-hour binge of Netflix, watching Housewives, for reading a book.
Yeah.
Like, read a book.
Yeah.
The secret of the ages are locked up in books.
Yeah.
The information that are in these are incredible.
Yeah.
And any success story, anybody that's ever accomplished anything will tell you, read.
Yeah.
Read books.
Yeah.
The greatest investment you'll ever make is on yourself. And yet the people that are struggling are the ones that just dismiss that. It's not just a suggestion.
Yeah.
These guys all swear by it.
It's a fact.
Yeah, like, so what is it? And you know, for me personally, I think in the beginning with when my self-image was really brutal, I was thinking, yeah, that works for everybody else, but it's not going to work for me. Like, I'm so helpless and hopeless. What the hell, what for?
Yeah.
Then I started reading.
And then you realize.
But read to understand.
Yeah.
Not just read to
say the words.
Yeah. And then put it on the bookshelf. Oh, yeah, I read that book in 1997.
Don't remember a word
from
from
I'm all about mindset. Yeah, I went to Tony Robbins in 2002. Yeah. No, that's not how mindset works. That's like saying, hey, man, I'm fit because I used to go to the gym, but I stopped in 2012.
Yeah.
No, then you're not fit.
Yeah.
We got to exercise the mind every day, man. And it's the way we learned everything else in our lives is the same thing, repetition.
Yeah. It's true.
Right.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, Joe, we appreciate you coming on.
That's it?
That was awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to see where you guys
come
go with
anytime.
this.
And I know I am. I don't know if Nick, you obviously, I know his dad's in it, I heard, which is awesome.
So if you want to come and meet some of the authors, that book, we're having a book signing at Indigo Chapters.
Oh, no way.
It's available on Amazon, so you can pick it up now. Bring it with you to Chapters if you want, or pick up your copy there. July 29th from 12 to 5, Sherway Gardens.
Cool.
Myself and most of those authors will be there. So
nice.
If you want to meet some of us, have a chat.
Let's do it.
Yeah, there's, you know what, and these are all stories that each individual took from something we read or something that they heard on the call.
Awesome.
And implemented in their lives and, you know, experienced some incredible changes as well. So proof that anyone can do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Al.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Say that life's about balance, baby, and the balance is in my account now. Okay, she got a perkin' and perk. I got a twerking and turf. She probably let both of us hit. The way that she smirking at dirt. She getting cake on the picture she take. I say, girl, if it worked, then it worked.
The Lifestyle Balance Podcast.